Pallavi here. Can you hear me?
Hello, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so okay. So can you give me a brief introduction, like what are you doing and what are your expectations with this training?
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, I have done BTech in Electronics Communication in 2011. I have about
Okay,
3.5 years experience as a data migration lead in Zenith Softwares Limited company.
okay,
Uh, and I want to make my career as an Oracle DBA. That's why I have joined this course.
okay. So have you started learning by yourself, or do you have any knowledge in Oracle?
I have some knowledge in Oracle because I was doing data migration now. So I'm
Okay, okay,
comfortable in writing. So I'm comfortable in writing the SQL queries and all that. So I'm comfortable.
okay, okay, fine. So currently, where are you working?
Right now I'm not working. I've resigned from the company. I'm looking for the job.
Okay, okay, fine, fine.
Mm.
Mm. Okay, so you want to make a career as an Oracle DBA.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have about 3.5 years experience as a data migration lead.
Okay, fine. That's good. So we will wait for 5 more time. I think one more guy will join us. Okay.
No. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Pallavi, you can proceed, okay? That guy not responding to call. If he joins, okay, in the middle also, we'll talk to him, not a problem. You can proceed with Srivastav.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Okay. So Mohit,
Mm.
one sec. Let me share my screen. Mm. Okay. So. Okay, I will try to cover all the things that I will going to cover in my training. Fine. And the basic
Okay.
thing is that
Okay.
you want to switch your career as an Oracle DBA. So I will try to cover the things that will help you
Mm.
during your interview sessions and while you're working also. Fine. As we all
Okay.
know
Okay.
that as we go
Okay, ma'am.
through the books or through the syllabus of Oracle DBA, it's a very vast syllabus, right? So,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, so there are so many things that can be
Mm.
skipped or that are not much important. And
Okay.
by the point of your interview point of view, and for by the point of your career, I would like to cover all those things that will help you during your interview. Fine.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
first of all, yeah. So first of all, the you can see my screen now.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Ah, okay. So you can see in left side the is the syllabus which contains all the lessons that I am
Mm.
going to be covered. So first of all, I will
Okay.
touch the introduction part of the Oracle which contains the database architecture. Fine.
Okay, ma'am. Mm.
Before this architecture, I will tell you that I will also give the demo how to install the database, how to set up your machine. Like I will show you.
Mm.
This is the VMware machine. First of all, we have to
Okay.
set up this machine on your laptop, and after installing this virtual machine, we will install the
Mm.
database software. Fine. So, and we will
Okay.
work on the Linux. So
Okay.
do you have any experience on
Means we have to.
Linux?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I have experience on Linux.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I will tell you how to install the software as well as the machine. After creating the machine, we will start
Okay.
that course. So first of all, we will cover the database architecture part, which contains our instance. Fine. Instance is basically it comprises of memory structures and process structures, background
Okay.
processes. So we will go in
Mm.
detail like what is SGA and what is PGA and what are the various
Okay.
background processes which are involved in all the process from writing to the
Mm.
disk to writing to the log buffer. All these things I will cover in that database
Okay.
architecture. And
Okay.
then we will also know the what are the different table spaces and what are the different components of SG and PJ. So all these
Mm.
things will be covered in your database architecture. Then after
Okay.
coming from
Fine.
database architecture, We will learn how to manage the database instance, like how much space we want to
Okay.
provide to SGA, or how much space we want to provide to PGA, or to the different blocks, like SGA are having different components, so how much space we want to provide to those components. So all these things we will learn in managing the database instance, right?
Okay.
Then the thing comes like configuring the Oracle network environment. Like for example, if we
Okay.
want to parcel something, courier something to our friend, for that we
Mm-hmm.
need some address, right? So for
Okay.
that we
Okay.
are having an TNS names and listener.
Okay.
TNS
Okay.
names
Okay.
and listener, we put the entries in both the listener as well as TNS name, so that we can create the connection between the application or a database or a server. Like if we want to connect between two database or two instances, so for that we should know what is the host ID, what is the database name, then only we can able to create the connection. So for that we will go through the configuring the Oracle network environment, right?
Now
Then
I have
there
one
are,
question.
yeah,
I have one
tell me.
question. If we want to connect the two machines, then TNS and listener has to be configured on both the machines.
No, like one machine will have the TNS names, and yeah, the
Mm-hmm.
entries in both the machines should have the like we have to enter in both the machines. Yeah, like host
Okay.
ID we have to enter in both the machines, as well as
Mm.
the database name also we have to mention in both the machines. Fine.
I think listener has to be configured on the server side and TNS entry should be configured on the client side.
Yeah, application side.
Uh,
Yeah,
okay. Okay.
no, but our listeners should be up. Then only we can
Uh,
able to create the connectivity, right?
okay. Okay.
Yeah. So then we will go. Yeah. Then after that we will go to the administrating user security. Here you
Okay.
can see that how to create the user, how to provide the privileges to those user. Like if we want to like access the table of other user, in that case we should have that privilege. So how to provide those privileges, administrative privilege, and what are the roles and what are the profiles, all these things we will cover in this topic. And then coming to the how to manage the user, right, and how to create the user, and how to
Okay.
like what happens when you get that uh, uh, when you open any account in bank, you get one
Mm-hmm.
password, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and
Mm-hmm.
there is a time duration, like after 1 month or 6 months, if you don't log in, then that password will be expired. Yeah, so
Okay.
and yeah, to how to log the account, or how to unlock the account, how to expire the expired password, how to change the password, all these things will come under the privileges. So we will discuss what are the different privileges, like system, what are system privileges, what are the user privileges, so object privileges, there are different privileges. So we will go through on detail what are
Okay.
these privileges. And then
Okay.
comes to the what are the roles. There are different roles, like when we connect to the system, so
Okay.
we create the connection, that is also a role. So and for example we take the backup, right? So all these
Mm.
things are the roles. So we will go through in detail, like what are roles and how we provide roles, and what yeah, how to provide those roles. So we will discuss in detail. And then coming in another, that managing database storage structures.
Mm.
As I said that there are different table spaces also, like user table space, temp table space, and there are mandatory table spaces also, like system and sysocs. Whenever the database is created, the system and sysocs table spaces are automatically created. So these are the mandatory table spaces of the database. Apart from that, there is undo table space. So what are the mandatory or critical table space of database, and how we create this database, and what happens when something wrong went wrong with those table spaces. So all these things we will cover in this chapter, managing database storage structures. Like here you can see, like we are having one undo table space, like, and that table space is filled. So what can we do? Either we can increase the size of that table space, or we can add any data file to that table space. So how we will perform these
Okay.
things, that we will cover in this topic. Fine.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, apart from that, it comes the managing space. Right, I said that I already said that there are different SGA components and PGA components, and there are different blocks, right? So if one block fails, so how we can how we can extend that block, up to what level we can extend that block. So for that we are having that row chaining and row migration option. Fine. Like for example, the block is one block is having 100 GB space, and in that 40 GB is filled, and we want to enter some new data in that block. So that will be known as the row, and the space is filled, and we need some other block also. So to transfer the data from one block to other block, that will be known as row chaining. And if that if we want to update something in one block, and that updation field in one block, and we need second block, then in that case that will be the row migration. So we will go in detail like what is row chaining and row migration, how to manage the space in different extents, or if different segments or different blocks. So all these things will be covered in this topic. Then coming from there, then managing undo data. Undo is also an important table space, like whatever things we do. For example, I have opened one page, and from for 10 minutes continuously I am on that page, same page, then the block or something. Then what happens, that will be counted in undo data, na? That is read consistency. Fine. So that block, that undo table space will be filled, and so in that case, how to increase that undo table space, what are the things that we can do, and so all these things will come into undo table space. The main important function of undo table space is that whenever we commit any data, then the updated data will be available for us. But if we want to, for example, if we want to know that what is the previous data, if we want to know, so in that case, that previous data will be stored on in our undo table space. So this is also an important
Okay,
table
before
space,
committing.
and how, yeah, before committing, that is known as undo, flashback,
Okay.
rollback data, that will be in
Okay.
our undo
Okay.
data.
Okay.
The data after committing is not important in undo data space, because already we have committed. That means we are confirmed that yeah, we want the updated one. But still the data, the previous data will be stored in undo table space for some duration. So that is important for
Okay.
that. Yeah. Then coming to the managing data concurrency. Then what are the logs and DML logs and log conflicts? Like what happens, one user is updating something, right? Or one user is doing something and it's taking a long time. In the meanwhile, same time, the one sec, I think. Okay. In the same time, the second user also tried to do something, but he couldn't able to do because the user one has keep the log session, right? He is keep updating, or he just want to do something. So in that case, what are the logs? How we can check those logs, and how we can like so how can we cancel these logs, or we can come to that process. So that will come under this. Okay, then apart from that, it's come the implementing database auditing.
Okay.
Here also there are various things like what is the value-based auditing, fine-grained auditing, all these things that will cover in these things. So basic is the architecture, that the questions basically the interviewer asks from the architecture, like what is SGA, PGA, what are the different components, what are the different background processes, and what are the different table spaces, what are the critical table space, and what are the redo log buffer, redo log files. So our architecture portion should be very strong, because the main questions comes from the architecture portion, right? And all
Okay.
these things that I covered, it help in the practical session. Then
Okay.
coming from architecture, there is a backup and recovery concept, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So we are having RMAN that we use for backup. Like through RMAN, we can take full backup of the database. From 12C, we can take the backup of table also, single table also. But before 12C, it was not possible through RMAN.
Okay.
So yeah, so in detail, I will go through that through RMAN, and there is also recovery and restore scenario. Like what happens, we have taken the full backup yesterday evening 5 o'clock, fine, and today morning
Okay.
9 o'clock I lost some data, my data. But as I have taken
Okay.
full backup up to the
Hmm.
evening,
Hmm.
yesterday evening, so from yesterday evening till today morning 9 a.m. what I will do, I will recover the data, right? Restore from the backup
Okay.
and recover the data from that period through archive log. So that's the
Okay.
importance of recovery and restore. Like if we lost some small portion of data or table space or anything, then we can restore and recover from using the RMAN backup. Sorry, RMAN. Fine.
Okay. This
So
is the only way to take backup. Arben. Arben is the only way to take backup of database.
yeah, RMAN is used to take the backup only.
No, no, I'm asking Arben is the only way.
No, no, no. We are having that AXPDP also, export import data pump. That is also here. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will come that also. Basically what happens, usually data pump and data guard, these topics usually in training institute they don't cover, but I will come through those topics also. Fine.
Okay.
As I told you that from 12C we can take the backup of table also from our man, but through
Okay.
XPDP or you can say data pump, we can take a backup of single table also, single schema also, single table space also, full database also. So
Okay. Fine.
I will come to that point also. Okay, so
Yeah, and
yeah, so the
Pallavi, one more guy is Sergius
yeah,
also on the call. Sergius, you are on mute.
okay.
Please unmute yourself so that we'll be able to hear you.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, okay. Along
Hello.
with us, Pallavi madam also on the call and other students also in the demo. Okay, please, Pallavi, you can proceed. Please talk to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Hi, Sergius.
Hi.
Yeah, can you introduce me a bit in brief?
Okay, I'm Surjis Miranda, currently working as an application support executive for Alpha Class at Mumbai.
Okay, fine. So do you have any knowledge in Oracle?
Not that much, but a little bit, only into queries, writing of queries and all.
Okay. So why, like, what is the purpose of joining this training?
I want to switch over and go into DBA. So,
Okay.
that's the reason I'm learning Oracle, and I want to also explore much more into the
Mhm.
databases.
Okay, okay, fine. So Sergius, Mohit is also with us.
Okay,
And
hi.
hello, Mohit, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Uh, so already like I have started the session. I will just in brief like what are the intro. Can I tell Mohit in
Yes,
brief
ma'am. Sure.
everything? Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Sure. Sure.
Okay. Mhm. So suggest like during this total training session, first of all, I will tell you how to install the machine and how to how to create the machine and how to install the database. You can see here that you can see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah, so here you can see that I'm having the virtual machine. So I will tell you how to create this machine and how to install the database. Right? So from this I will begin session. After that, I will continue with the introduction part, that is the basic database architecture, which will cover the this architecture, which comprises of SGA and PGA, and the instance, different components of SGA PGA, then different background processes and different table spaces, redo log files. All these things I will cover in the database architecture in detail. Fine. Yeah, then I will tell you how to manage the instance. And like before, earlier there was a fixed SDN PGA, but now we can manage the SDN PGA if we are having automatic memory management system.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah. Then I will tell you how to configure the Oracle network environment, like how to set the TNS names and how to set the listener. Fine. If we want to create any connection between application or server, in that case we have to put the entries in the TNS names and our listener should be up. Then only we can able to create the connectivity. So in detail, I will tell you how to create the connection. Then coming to that, yeah, then coming to that privileges, we are having different privileges like administrative privilege and different user privilege and other roles and something that I will covered in this session. And I will tell you how to create the user and how to provide the privileges to those user, like if we want to access the table of some other user. So in that case we should have some privilege, otherwise we can't able to access the data of table or data of other user. So for that we must have knowledge like how privileges can be given or how it can be granted. So, and after that, how to manage the user, create the user. Fine. So, and then coming next, we are having the managing database storage. Fine. Like I told you that there are different table spaces. So how to manage the table space, how to create the table space. If we want to, like our table space is filled. So in that case, we are having two options. Either we can extend that table space or we can add new data file. So how to operate these functions, I will tell you in detail, right? Then apart from that, coming from that, we are having different row chaining and row migration option. Like if some block is filled, then what are the options we can use? If that block is filled, then we can switch to the next block. So in that case, if the block is new, then that will be called as no chaining. And if the block is older one and we want to just update the data, then that will be called as migration. I will go in detail to those things. Okay. Then I will touch the main topics, as the syllabus is very big, so it's not possible for me to cover in within half an hour or 1 hour. So don't worry for that, like I'm skipping the topics, I will cover in the training session. Then coming to that, we are having one undo table space, which is very important. So I will tell you how to manage this undo table space, what is undo retention, and what does it mean, and how to manage other table spaces also, like we are having temp table space. Here you can see temp table space. We are having user table space, system, sysocs, and example, different table spaces we are having. So how to create those table spaces and how to manage those table space, that I will tell you in detail. Then coming next, we are having implementing Oracle database auditing. So how to like implement database auditing? For that we are having database security, different activities for auditing, and what are the mandatory auditing activities. All these things I will cover in this session. Fine. So this was the basic architecture portion. The mainly questions in interviews are asked from architecture, from SGA, what is SGA and what is PGA, what are the different components of SGA, PGA, how you can manage the table space, and what are data blocks, what are data extents, what are the segments. So these are the main basic things that is very important while the interview. After that, coming to next topic, that we are having the RMAN. RMAN is basically used for backup. Apart from that RMAN, we are also having data pump that is used for taking backup, right? So first I will cover RMAN. Through RMAN we can take the full backup of database, and before 12c from 12c we can take the backup of single table also. This is an additional feature of 12c. Fine. And RMAN is also known as hot backup because we don't need to down the database. So it is also known as hot backup, and it is also used for recovery and restore. Fine. Fine. Like for example, we have lost some data particular in particular time duration. So in that case, we don't need to take the full backup of the database because it will consume lot time as well as space also. So in that case, we can restore and recover the database, restore from the last backup and recover the database from the archive log. Archive log is that if our database is archive log, then the chances of losing our data minimizes. Like there is a less chance of losing data if our database is in archive log mode. So this is one more feature of RMAN, right? Like then we will go in detail, like what are the options why this failure occurs. Like there may be any statement failure, or there may be any user process failure, or there may be any network failure, which is there may be media failure. So how these failures can be recovery can be done. So for that we are having the RMAN recovery and restore feature, right? Then coming from next, we are having yeah, this is your backup and recovery. Okay, so to like to store our data for long time, or to save from the loss of our data, what we do the multiplexing. We do the multiplexing of our control files, we do the multiplexing of our redo log files, because all the backup information is saved in the control file. So what we do the multiplexing, like we keep one control file in FRA, or we can keep the other control file in some other location, so that it will minimize the loss of data. So I will tell you how to multiplex the control file and redo log files. Then coming to the next, performing database backups. Okay, so here you can see that user managed backup, or Oracle secure backup, or RMAN backup types. I will tell you, like full backup, or cumulative level backup, or differential backup. Like what happens usually in offices, what they do, they set the full backup of database through crontab. Crontab is scheduler through which we can schedule the backup. So once in a week they used to take full backup of the database, and on the daily basis they take the incremental backup. That means to take the backup only only the changed blocks. Fine. Like on Monday I have taken the full backup, and from Monday what I will do, on Tuesday I will take the incremental backup. That means the backup of only the changed blocks, not the whole database. Fine. Then Wednesday also I will take the incremental backup. Now the incremental backups are of two types. It may be cumulative or it may be differential. In cumulative, what we do, we like on Monday we have taken full database. Then Tuesday I will take the backup from Monday to Tuesday. Then Wednesday I will take the backup from Monday to Wednesday. Then Thursday from Monday to Thursday. This is cumulative. But in differential, what I will do, I will take the full backup of Monday. Then on Tuesday I will take the backup from Monday to Tuesday. Wednesday I will take the backup of from Tuesday to Wednesday, not from Monday to Wednesday. So this is the difference. I will tell you in detail what is the difference between incremental and differential. So this is the way how in offices or how the databases are handled. Then apart from that, the archive logs are also there. Usually we used to schedule the backup of archive logs every 4 hours. Within every 4 hours, we take the backup of all the archive logs. So this is the main process of taking the backups. Fine. So I will tell you in detail how to take backup and how to manage those backups. Like there might be some scenario like we lost both the control files. Fine, our disk failure or some other media failure. So in that case, what will happen? We can't so in that case we are having the recovery catalog. One more thing. Recovery catalog, I will tell you in detail. So recovery catalog basically stores all the historical backup history. they don't it doesn't cover like store the backup, whole backup, but the history of those backup information. Fine. So to make the data more safer, more safer, we use recovery catalog. So I will tell you in detail what is recovery catalog, how we create recovery catalog, and how we will configure that recovery catalog. Fine. In recovery catalog, we can take the backup, store the backup of many databases. Like in control files, we can store, keep the backup of the same database, but in recovery catalog, we can keep the backup information of many databases. So that will cover in detail. Then coming on performing database recovery, like how data recovery advisor, if we lost any control file or if we lost any redo log file, then how we can restore that control file. Like control file is the critical data file. So in that case, if we lost any one of the control file, the database will not run, not even shut down. Then we have to shut down it abnormal, we have to abort the database. Then how we can restore? We will restore and recover a database, and we will do the open reset logs. That means like our database is remains in sync. Uh, in sync means control file and the header of data files should remain in sync. Fine. But if we lost any control file, that means we have lost the, what we can say, the main thing of our database. It will not run. So how to recover and restore control file, that I will tell you. And how to recover the lost data file if our database is no archive log mode. As I told you that our database should be in archive log mode. If log mode, that means it is impossible, it is not possible to recover the lost data. Fine. So after coming next, it is data. Coming the backup. It is also known as import and export, or you can show IMPDP and EXPDP, whatever we can say. Earlier it was known as EXP and IMP. So basically in interviews, interviewer asks this question, what is the difference between the data pump and the old version of EXPDP? So that is the questions that arise from this topic. So there are different parameters in data pump that we will go in detail. And through data pump, as I told you, through RMAN, we can take the backup of full database and backup also. Data, we need the backup for we can take backup of single table space, single user, single schema. These facilities are these are the advantages of data pump. Okay, what happens in data pump? It takes the export from the target area and import it to the source database. So that's why it is known as IMPDP and XPDP. While doing this IMPDP and XPDP, it's create a master table. Okay, so this is a new feature in data pump which was not earlier in data old version of XPDP. That's why earlier once we started the export and import, we can't resume it or we can't stop it. But in data pump, we can stop our session and we can resume it again. So this is the advantage and feature of data pump. Then we are having different parameters for EXPDP. Like we are having transportable table space, and we are having remap and parallel session, file session. Like we want to input our data in 100 KB blocks. So for that, how we can distinguish that if our 100 KB block is filled, then it should directly automatically move to the next block. For that, we are having file parameter. We can differentiate through file parameter. Then we are having query. Then we are having version. So these are the different important parameters that I will cover in detail. And for import, we are having other parameters also, like table exists action. For example, I want to import HR table. So the HR table may already exist. So in that case, what I will do, there are 4 different options: append, replace, truncate, or skip. So we can choose any option. Like if we choose skip, then it remain a table as it is and copy the data to next place. So these are the 4 options. Then once one more parameter comes remap. Remap means like I am importing HR table, but I want to import it on HR1. So in that, if I use the remap parameter, then it will be easily imported. So these are the parameters that I will tell you in detail, because the questions that arises from data pump is basically the difference between old one and new one. And second parameters for the export parameter, more than 4 parameters. So, and one more thing, like we have taken export on 11G and we want to import it on the lower version, like take 9. So how we go as so basic parameters I will cover. So next coming database maintenance. Okay, so whatever things we are doing, like if we start the database or we shut down the database or we write any SQL query or we do any activity related to startup shutdown or any user activity, anything that will be recorded in our alert history. We can trace it from there. Okay, so for alert history and trace, this is important task of DBA to monitor the alert log and trace files. So for that also we schedule it, and on the through mail we get the alert history. So if we have any error or in issue we can check through alert history and we can solve through there. Okay, then we are having the AWR report. AWR report is that our, for example, database is very slow. Our client says that we are having the complaint of slowness of database. So know that what is the error, or why, what is the reason behind the slowness. So for that we will we will generate the AWR report. Through that we can check that for how, like if somebody is if somebody has put any log to any query, or if if very high, like DBC query things. So these are the different things that we check through AWR report. So this is important for it comes under the performance tuning. So how I will tell you how to generate AWR report and how to read that AWR report. Basically what happens, we generate AWR report and give to the client. But I will tell you how to like examine that AWR report. Fine. Apart from that, coming to managing performance. Yeah. In, whenever you go to give interview or anything, they ask for performance tuning, like you have any experience in performance tuning, because every time some issues come, like, so how you will do that performance, sorry, how you will solve that queries. So for that you should be strong in performance tuning also. So I will tell you how to monitor performance of the database. If the problem is on, either the problem is on OS level or either the problem is on database level. If problem is on OS level, then we will check like what are the how much space the CPU is consuming, or how much space any program is consuming, how to kill the session, and so all these things we will cover in the performance tuning. Fine. Then apart from that, coming to next, and coming to next is managing performance SQL tuning. Yeah, it's also a part of that performance tuning also. Then coming next is user database resource management. Yeah, Here I will tell you that how to database resource manager, what are the concepts, how we can use the resource manager, what are the default plans for maintenance window, then how we can create the simple resource plan, complex resource plan, all these things like CPU utilization level and instance caging. And this is also covers under the basic to improve the performance of our database. So all these things I will cover in detail. Then next is using Oracle scheduler to automatic tasks. Like it is not possible to take the backup or it is not possible to monitor the logs every time. So for that what we do, we schedule the data through cron tab. Cron tab is a scheduler. So I will tell you how to schedule the backup or how to schedule the alert log files so that vendors so there are different criteria for scheduling the data, like creating a time-based job or event-based schedule, or how to create event-based job. So all these things I will cover in this. Then coming to next is working with Oracle support. Like every time some Oracle, what Oracle do, it releases some new features, like in the form of patches, upgradation forms. So in this cover I will tell you how to like how to read patches or how to install the patches. Fine. And if early have installed any patches, how to check those patches. So these things will come in. So this is the overview of the whole syllabus the training. Apart from that, here it is not mentioned. I will also tell you what is data guard. Fine.
Okay.
And data guard is basically what happens other in which is settled in some other place. Fine. So that in disaster or in any other critical situation, we can use that those database as an primary database. So how to configure the data guard and what are the different data guard we are having primary data guard and standby database. So what are the difference and how to configure them, then how the redos are applied, and what the errors that come. Mainly in interview they ask like what are the issues that may come. So I will tell you in detail like what are the things we can face during our during running all these things. Fine. And apart from that, I will also touch 12C. Like usually 12C is not used because it is not that much it is not succeeded as many drawbacks of 12C also. So for if we go for the larger database, they don't prefer 12C. Basically, they work on 11G. So I will tell you what are the new features of 12C and where we can use 12C. For small databases, we can use 12C, but if the database is very large, then in that case, we don't want to take risk. So in that case, we don't prefer 12C. So that I will also, 12C architecture also I will cover in this session. Fine. Yeah. So these are the things that I am going to cover here, and if you have any question, both of you, you can ask me.
Okay, ma'am, I have one question. Suppose
Yeah.
if we have not done we have not done control file and retrol file multiplexing, and
Mm-hmm.
if the control file got lost, then how we can restore the database if we do not have done any multiplexing of control file?
Okay, fine. If we do not have, first of all, control file is in two places. Already it is default that it is stored in two places, like one is FRN, one is other location.
Okay.
If we lost both the, one sec, let me give me 1 minute.
Mhm.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I'm audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah. So if we have lost both the control files, then in that case we can restore it from backup. As I told you that we are having the backup sets, from there we can store that control file, and from recovery catalog also we can store the control file.
So when we have to
Okay.
take the backup? When we'll have to take the backup? Monthly basis, daily basis, or weekly basis?
No. Backup should, I told you, like full backup we take weekly once, and after that we take the incremental backup, only the backup of the changed blocks. Okay. And for
Okay.
archive block we take the backup every 4 hours.
So archive is the offline storage of Edulog files.
Yeah, that is the, if we when we want to preserve a redo log file information, in that case we do the archive log. So we can say that archive logs are the preserved version of redo log file. So that is very important for if we want to restore or recover the database, we restore it from archive log, not from the redo log file. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Any other question?
That's it.
Ma'am, are we also taking upgradations from 11G to 12? Is that also there as a part of the course?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Ma'am, are upgradations covered? Upgradations from 11G to 12C.
Yeah. That will be. Yeah, that will be covered.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that will be covered.
Okay.
Okay, ma'am. What about the cloning?
Cloning, I
Cloning
will
of
tell you
database.
that. Yeah. Cloning, I will tell you that we can do the cloning by 2 methods, either through the backup or through the that duplicate active database. So I will tell you in detail both the, like when we use the backup set or when we use the active duplicate. So I will tell you how to do cloning. That will also be covered. Yeah, and that begin backup and end backup. That also I will cover. Schema refresh. And there are so many small topics that might be not covered in this session, but I will cover in detail.
Okay.
And if you know, if you get to know any topic, you can tell me. I will
Okay.
tell you those topics also.
Okay, ma'am. Fine.
Hmm. Okay, so I think Jilani, that's over. Hello.
Okay, Pallavi. Thanks for your time. Okay, I'll talk to Mohit and Sajesh, and we'll update you the status by tomorrow.
Yeah, sure.